This road was plowed with the horse and buggy, and we had put the horse in the Hutton, what they call Hutton store on this side, and we were sitting in there, and Evelyn, Mervin's sister, came up and said our house is on fire. So we went down, and it was all afire, and there wasn't very many people there because the other road wasn't plowed that year. Well, I remember Edgar Bucher coming along. He'd been down to Lorne Render's buying a calf or something, and his father was in the car, and he didn't get out, his father, but I remember Art Hutton was going up the street with a ladder. Art was crippled kind of with arthritis, and he grabbed the ladder from Art, and Art almost fell down because he could go faster. Well, then, after a while, the house was burning, and Edgar was around there. His father kept yelling, Edgar, come out of there, you'll get burnt. I get up on the ladder and they run up. Boy, my legs were sore for days after and water up to them. And then we took a lot of the furniture out, and Billy Nattell was there. Cecil Dewell was upstairs, and he stayed up there, and he didn't let anybody else up. He come and handed everything down. And he said, I guess I'd better get out of here now. So that was it. Billy Nattell and I. There was a cabinet with a bunch of dishes in it. We were going to bring the whole bunch of dishes out all at once, and we just got out the door, split, and the dishes went on. But we still took the cabinet out because the fire was getting pretty close then. But I think we got pretty near everything I can remember.
It started on the roof from the chimney, and the neighbors carried water for hours, and they kept it down to a certain extent. The wind got so bad that it just took off. Couldn't do anything with it, so it burnt. We got everything out of the house. It was all out in the yard. Lots of time, but it was gone. All our furniture was out, so we just had to move it across a half a mile to the other house.
And he yelled at some of the rest of them, I think we better go back up to the village because it was an awful windy day. Right. I think we better go back up to the village and see if everything's all right up there. I was working in the store, and he said, I think you better gather things together. We don't know what the wind will do. Right. So I said, what do I gather together? Anyway, I got a basket, and I put books and things that I thought, well, that might be needed. Edgar Bucher and probably his father, I don't know. They were coming down, and they seen smoke on the top of the straight house. And they yelled and said, it's on fire.
It was a windy day. My grandfather's house was on fire. Well, Aunt Tilly had been living in that father's sister, and she was away somewhere else, and furniture was in there. And I had no key, so I just broke the door to get in. And then it was stupid. I couldn't get the door all the way back. There was an axe in, I just cut at the hinges, and I didn't even put the axe there. I left it in there and got burnt.
So that's what can happen. The spark from the Robinson place, it blew up onto the back of that, and of course it was shingle roof, and of course it got under the shingles and away it went.
And that thing just went like tinder. Then it was, there was such a wind that it would just pick up those balls of fire and they'd go up in the air and they'd come down. Well, look at the distance they came from Tommy's up to the straight house. I speak about the McClellans. They had an old barn. That old building caught fire. Oh my goodness. And you know, the men and everybody was just running from one place to the other, trying to keep it under control. And the church went first, and then the parsonage went next. They were just side by side. Then the brick school was the last. The school, I think, started to burn, maybe 5 o'clock. Everything, it just all happened so fast. You take I don't suppose there was any more than 3 hours. We came home about 5 o'clock the next morning. And that old school was still burning. The straight house was still burning because the timbers were so good in it. And I can remember when we were coming back up that night about 7 o'clock. I'll never forget the look of that school. The windows were all burned out. And all you could see was just like light inside that brick form and the flames coming out top. Oh, it was a weird thing. That was a day a lot of us will never forget.